Welcome to the Black Canadian Content Creators Podcast, a show where we focus on celebrating content creators who lives or are born in Canada and identify as Black, African, Caribbean, mixed, or Afro-Canadians. I'm your host, Shirley Joseph. This podcast delivers a variety of content creators you really need to know. Learn from creators from their beginning, their lessons, and what they share in the digital realm. Today, I'll be speaking to one of the members of BCANCC, Margarette, CharisMaggie Leandre. Margaret is a Guyanese-born Jamaican and Haitian-raised YouTuber. Now, can you imagine growing up in a house like that? That would be very loud. She completed her studies in Jamaica, Belize, and Canada with a Bachelor of Science with a general science major and a French minor. CharisMaggie Tv is a YouTube channel that provides information in a fun, creative, and unique way. The channel has a range of series that appeals to an audience who have an interest in university life, culture, lifestyle, food, and vlogs. I'm really excited to introduce you to this young lady and really hope that you enjoy my conversation with CharisMaggie. What's up, everyone? Hello. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Black Canadian Content Creators Podcast. Episode 4. Yeah. Okay. I'm excited because I am here talking to Margaret CharisMaggie Leandre, who is a charismatic, lots of energy, ready to go and get 'em attitude, and I love it. How are you doing, Margaret?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
So, Margaret is part of the group. So this is a great opportunity as you're listening. Go to Facebook. Search for Black Canadian Content Creators, join the group so you have an opportunity to interact with Margaret. And so just wanted to take some time to put a spotlight on you, get to know you. So you were born in Guyana, but you grew up in Jamaica. Interesting.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How long were you like
in Jamaica?
Yeah. At what age did you get to Jamaica?
I believe I was about 3. Like I was going to be 4, almost 4.
Okay.
So yeah, it was about 15 years that I was in Jamaica for. So I really don't know much about Guyana, to be honest, because I left so long ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, about 15 years in Jamaica.
What was it like growing up in Jamaica?
It had its ups and downs, of course, because I've lived in like the really dangerous areas to like the middle parts where it's really calm, and also moved to the city and got a feel of that. So yeah, I got a little bit of both, you could say, both worlds.
And what were you into in your childhood? What kind of games did you like to play, or what did you think, this is what I'm going to be when I grow up when you're in Jamaica?
Well, I was a really big band geek. It's something not a lot of people know. I was in an all-girls band at my high school. I played the trumpet.
What?
Yeah, and I was in my church band. So my family is like a family of musicians. So I grew up with that. And I didn't really want to be a professional musician per se, but it's something I wanted to be a part of my life. What I wanted to be was a doctor, but that changed. Real quick.
Really? What changed? You saw some blood or something? You're like, wait, I have to do that.
No, it was just like, I'm really social, and just, like when you get to a certain age and you realize the real hard truth of like what goes into being a doctor and the sacrifices that you have to make to get there. I saw that it was not something that was for me because I'm just too social. I have to be interacting with people. I love keeping in touch with friends and family, and that wouldn't really allow me to do so because I saw for like other friends how much it took away from them.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, yeah, I'm not even going to waste money. I'm just going to find something that's me, and I know it's with people and connecting and networking. So let me just stick to anything in that field.
And then you immigrated to Canada. Is that on your own time, like your decision, or was it a
Oh, it was
family
my
thing?
decision. Yeah,
Okay.
it was my decision because I was actually in Belize for 2 years because that's where I moved after I was in Jamaica.
Why
Uh,
Belize?
so the thing is, my parents work with the Salvation Army, so we move around a lot.
Mhm.
So they are Haitians, so it's a very
Ah,
mixed up
suck a
family.
fit. Wait, you are wow.
It's a mixed up family.
Okay.
Yeah, so they are Haitians, I'm Guyanese, and my little brother is a Jamaican. So the house never a dull moment. So
Ah, that's a loud house.
yes, very
It's a loud,
loud.
noisy house. I know. Plus, you got
So
the
yeah,
mixture of Jamaica and yeah,
mhm,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So
So,
yeah, I was in Belize and for school for 2 years, and after they had a specific school in Newfoundland that did a lot of recruiting in Belize,
mm,
I decided to go there. Budgeting and all that played a part into it as well, because everyone always asks me, why Newfoundland? Yeah, it was affordable and
hmm.
in the budget because school's not cheap. So yeah.
So you're in Newfoundland for college, university, or
Yeah, I did my bachelor's there.
okay. And what was Newfoundland like studying in Newfoundland, living in Newfoundland?
It was like it's not as cold where I was. Like they have cold parts there because it's known for that. But the people are very friendly. They gave me like Caribbean vibes and how hospitable they were.
Hmm.
Like everyone wants to invite you to their house to come eat, have tea, whatever, right? So
Yes.
it really brought me back home to that. And because it's a smaller province in terms of development, it
Hmm.
didn't have a lot of like luxury like what Toronto has in like the Uber Eats and all those stuff. So it kind of forced you to connect with people more in that you're doing more like potlucks, you stay in more and like watch movies with your friends. Like going out isn't something you did unless you actually had to.
Mm.
But yeah, that's what I liked about it, that it made me stay connected with people and you got to know people more in other than like going out and it's just a one night. Okay, bye. Nice meeting you. And you never talk to them again because it's such a big city.
Yeah.
Um, it wasn't like that. You can see people again and you stay connected. So I like that about the place.
And what's the Black community like? I mean, if there's a deep history of African Canadians there, people who came, who
Hmm.
migrated, or escaped slavery and everything like that
Hmm.
to that part of Canada. What's that like? What's the community like there?
So, the part of Newfoundland that I say would have more Black people would be St. John's. So that's the capital.
Hmm.
So that's where we would find most of them. That's not where I went to school though. I went to school in the second largest city in Corner Brook. So we had our own small like population of Black students that it was mixed with those from the Caribbean or parts of Africa. So Nigeria and Ghana were like the biggest. After a while, they were like the biggest population there. And then slowly but surely, like Belize became one of the biggest population of students that would come to the school. So it really differed. But I would say in St. John's is where you would find most of them. I don't know much about like the history per se, but if people met you in Newfoundland, they knew that you were there for two things, either work or school.
Hmm.
They knew
Hmm.
it wasn't really like by choice kind of a deal because it's like, oh, what brings you to this neck of the woods kind of a deal. They like knew you were a student or you were probably working at one of the hospitals or something to that effect.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
here's because you mentioned potluck,
Hmm.
Ghana and Nigeria. Who has the better rice, Ghana or Nigeria?
Ooh, you're putting me in trouble. Lord have
Do you want to
mercy.
plead the fifth on this one?
I think I went. Okay, no, you know what? I'm gonna be truthful. So my Nigerian and Ghanaian people, I love you guys very, very much. But the one that had to take the cake, I don't know if it's because of the way my friend actually made it. She's from Ghana.
Hmm.
Um, but hers is less spicy.
Mm.
I can't really take the spice, so I had a friend from Nigeria who actually made it for me a couple of times, and trust me, like my taste buds feel like they burn off every time. It's tasty, but it's too hot for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So Ghana
the
for you.
Ghanaian one, yeah, the Ghanaian one for me because it's a bit milder in spiciness, I would say. Yeah, but apart from that, the food, like their fried chicken, yes, I love Nigeria fried chicken. It's really good. They can cook.
So you're in Newfoundland, and when was this the time that you started dabbling with YouTube? Because you're a video content creator, you're a scriptwriter, producer, director, you're doing all of that, and you started it off back in September 2006. You've been doing it for 3 years. Were you doing YouTube while you were at school or after?
While I was in school. So it was I believe it was my third year of university that I started. What motivated me to do it, there were two reasons. One, I needed an outlet to express myself. I was kind of going through this period of, like, I don't want to say depression because I wasn't diagnosed with it or anything, but I was in a dark place for a while. I needed an outlet to express myself, and at the same time, I wanted to help people because from time to time, I would get messages from people who were like from other countries, and they wanted advice on how should I prepare to come over for school there? What do I need to bring? What do I need to have? All that stuff. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to create a YouTube channel, and I want to help international students and mostly people who are going to different places and they need advice on how to adjust, because that's something I've had to do all my life with moving to so many different places.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what? This can be helpful to someone, whether they're visiting for a little bit or they're going to live for a while. Vital information. Let's just do it.
How did you get into a position where you're helping so many people? Were you volunteering, or or you're just a major social butterfly?
So with how small my school was, it wasn't that hard to meet people. But most of it was from volunteering with, like they have orientations for new students. So they had a separate one for international students just because they needed a little bit more information for certain things. So I would volunteer for that. And then also I was the speaker for our International Students Caucus for about a year. So it gave me a chance to see some of the issues that they faced, and they would be comfortable with talking to me about certain problems, and they would recommend me to friends with asking certain questions if they were moving over here and they didn't really have the answers. So I was like, okay, let's do a YouTube. Put it out there. Yeah.
So you have a series. It's really interesting. It's called Fi Di Kulcha. And is that the series that created for helping these students and understanding where they come from? It's really fascinating series.
Yeah, a little bit of both. So what I noticed was, because Newfoundland is such a small province in that it's very recent. You could say they've been having a lot of immigrants that have come there, and some of them have been staying and settling and making families. So more of trying to also educate the residents there of where these individuals come from, their culture, and also not every Black person is necessarily from Africa. There are other countries in the world. And also, yes, even if they're from Africa, what country in Africa they're from, or if they're from the Caribbean, they have an accent. They are not necessarily from Jamaica. They could be from Barbados or Belize. So those things I wanted to touch on, because even some comments I would get from people are, oh my gosh, your English is so good. And I'm like, to myself, I'm like, well, yeah, I come from an English speaking country because colonialism. But
damn you, colonialism.
I was like, I need to make a series because certain questions you would be asked as well. After a while, it just got frustrating having to repeat yourself all the time, sometimes to the same people. So I said, you know what? We need to educate ourselves more, get to learn more about each other, and realize that there are certain things in our cultures that are different, but we have some stuff that are very similar, and to know why that is the case.
It's a great series. I mean, you have,
Thank you.
some subjects like how to speak like a Newfoundlander. I like that. People of Belize. My favorite, which I really it's so funny when I actually, how I found out about you is I think I ran into the video, a Mauritian French Creole. I think I saw you on, I don't know why. Maybe I was looking on like lessons because I can fully understand Creole, but I cannot speak it. And I think maybe I was doing a search or something about Creole, like maybe like, oh, let me, you know what? It's time for me to learn how to speak Creole. So I think maybe I did a search on YouTube or something, and that's how I ran into you. And so my favorite video was the Mauritian French Creole that I had no idea about Madagascar and how culturally the diversity on that island. You know, what like what was your favorite Fi Di Kulcha series? What was the one that you know were like, oh,
that's a hard one, you know.
I know it's all our babies, especially as content creators.
I think the favorite one I would say was when I compared living in Jamaica to Belize, just how it was fun getting like some interaction in the comment section with people representing where they were from, because there was a debate on, so Jamaica calls it rice and peas, but in Belize it's called rice and beans. So I asked them to comment in the comment section what team they're on, if they're team rice and beans or team rice and peas. And it was just fun to see the amount of Belizeans that found the video compared to the Jamaicans. And I really like that video because I was able to show like how similar both were, because a lot of my Jamaican friends, they didn't realize that technically Belize is considered to be a Caribbean country, even though it's found geographically in Central America.
Right.
So that was a really fun video for me to do, just to shed some light on that, as to like, just know if you visit Belize, you can still understand, because English is the first language. They do speak Spanish in certain areas, because that was the impression that me and my family were under when we were getting moved. They were like, oh my God, we don't know Spanish. So I researched and I told my parents, oh, they speak English, we'll be good. And they're like, oh, okay, we good. So, yeah.
What's one of the things that you wish you would have known before you started a YouTube? Like you're creating content on YouTube?
I think maybe like steps to take in terms of advertising yourself before starting one, so you build build a little family or fan base ahead of time, so it takes a little less time for you to accomplish certain YouTube milestones. That's the only thing I would say, because it took me a while to get a decent amount of subscribers and recommended on, you know, the recommended part of YouTube and stuff like that. So I think if I knew, because I didn't really know how it operates. Like, I didn't even know people got paid for YouTube when I started YouTube. That's how that's how in the dark I was. So at least we can say I did it for the love, not for the money.
Right. Well, what are some YouTube, I guess, algorithms or things that you know now that you can share that is beneficial for someone who is considering to start a YouTube channel?
So titles are very important, the way you title your video, especially when you're a new YouTuber. It can't be something too random, or else it's going to be hard for people to find you. So wait until like you're like up there when well known, then you can title your videos however you want. Tags in the tags that you use for your keywords, that helps a lot too. And also spend a good amount of time in the description area on what you write, because that can also help in how you're searched up on the internet overall. Because Google, you notice sometimes you'll Google something and you get recommended a YouTube video. Yes, it has to do with however the person described their video in the description part of the process. That will help them get ranked because of their description.
And where do you add the tag? In the description, and that's going to be picked up as a tag? Or is that specifically in the tag when you're in the...
specifically in the tags, because they have a description section and then there's a tag section.
And now with YouTube too, I noticed that you I was dabbling with this the other day, is when you do tag in the description, sometimes it gets picked up to be right under the title.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like a new thing that I've noticed
Yeah.
lately.
It
Yeah,
changes so much.
all the
Yeah.
time. It's
Yeah.
true. It's so,
Ugh.
I know, right? But I mean, it's pretty good. Like I see that you've done workshops where you're helping people to position, like you position yourself in 2 years to gain like 400 subscribers. And you didn't have a big
Yeah.
following on that.
Well, yeah, that was pretty incredible to me. Like when I finally reached that milestone, I was like, okay, so it's possible. That means that I can accomplish more and I shouldn't give up because there were a lot of times where I felt discouraged, like, oh, forget it, I'm gonna stop. But I kept pushing, and like 2 years from now, people will be finding my videos relevant. So that's also a very important thing to me with my content, that I'm making relevant content that people can learn from for years to come.
Hmm. Well, like one of the things I thought that's very interesting, because For the Culture series is all about introducing different cultures, understanding. Again, you've covered some cultures I had no idea. Like Belize, when you said Belize, I thought, oh, that's a lot of Latinx people or things like that. But there's like Afro Latinos there, and
Oh
some Black
yeah.
people in Belize. And how in Newfoundland you had a lot of people from Africa and some in the Caribbean.
Hmm.
What do you find? One of the things I find in the Black community is the sense of division, especially between Caribbean and African community. Um,
Yes.
do you run into that a lot when you were in university? Like how what did you see with that, with the division?
So it was like all these negative stereotypes that people grew up with, that when they met people from there, they didn't even give it a chance. It was just, oh, they know this about them, so they would stay far, kind of a deal. Um, I don't know if it's because of how I grew up, where I moved so much,
Mm.
because that also gives you a lot of perspective. So I would encourage people, if you have the opportunity to travel, do it, because it really can open your eyes up to different perspectives, and it really makes you appreciate people's cultures and differences more. So I would say that's what helped me, because I would sometimes be the little, like, I don't know what you call it, like what you call it, mediator or whatever, like trying to bring everyone together, like, hey guys, let's do this or whatever.
Hmm.
And
Let's learn from
some
one
people would
another.
be negative, right? Some people would want to be negative, like, oh, we don't want to associate. And I'm like, guys, like, seriously, like, we're the only Black people here. Like,
Right. And there's not that
like,
many of us.
yeah, it's not that many of us. So we need to, like, pull our resources together, get to know each other. And like through those little potlucks, game night, like I met so many great people from Nigeria, Cameroon, Ghana. Like it's really insane how that one school I went to, I was able to meet these people from so many different countries. And I would say that they played a really important part of the creation of Fi Di Kulcha, because I wanted them to be able to have a positive spotlight on their culture instead of the negative stereotypes that they have associated to them and their country.
Hmm. Yeah, I asked the question because I could see how For the Culture helps do that. It's to kind of, you're creating a bridge, right?
Yeah.
And minimizing the gap with a series such as For the Culture YouTube series, which is awesome.
Thank you.
Now, you're not just a content creator, she's also an entrepreneur, y'all.
Oh,
you,
gosh.
so you're a busy young lady. Now, if when you can see the picture of Margaret, I was like, who is this 18-year-old? What have I done with my life? But you've launched an apparel clothing as well for individuals to express themselves. Tell me more about
Yeah.
your apparel clothing line.
So it's actually like it got inspired pretty much by my YouTube channel.
Mm.
So I wanted to be able to give individuals an outlet to express themselves, because I do it with my videos, but not everyone is comfortable with going on a camera and expressing themselves in that way. Some people like they want to have a cool shirt and it can say what's on their mind and you get the message of what they're in the mood for that day, kind of a deal. So that's where I was coming from with it. But how it really got started was I had a shirt in particular that I made for myself, which was the tagline that I end my videos with, which is do road and do things. And for those who don't know what that is, it's
yes,
a
please
Jamaican
explain.
slang. It's a Jamaican slang, and it's basically just the equivalent of "just do it." Nike's slogan, "Just do it." It's basically the same thing, just in Jamaican dialect. So, how I was looking at it is like with my channel, it was to inspire people as well to do what you love with charisma and do it to the best of your ability. So made a shirt for myself. Other people saw it. They told me they wanted to purchase them. So I decided after a while, okay, I'll have them available for sale. But I didn't want to just stop with that one shirt. I wanted to be able to make other shirts because sometimes I don't necessarily want to express myself via camera as well. So I made a bunch of other shirts like "Don't stress me," "No make the body treat you like bread back," like
yep.
more to come, but those are the ones. Oh, adulting sucks as well.
Now, where did the adulting sucks come from? Because I mean, I'm an adult and I have I'm still adulting on some areas still, like financial.
Well, the bills, and you have to pay this bill, that bill, figuring out certain stuff on your own because school really didn't teach us certain things that we needed to know. So it's like we're going through life of experimenting and trying to figure out what works for us. So like on the shirt, it actually has like a bunch of words that relate to why adulting sucks. So you can really relate to it. So at least one or two of those words on it will like say, yes, I can, like kids. If you have kids, oh my God.
Yeah.
God bless your heart.
Yep.
Because they're expensive.
I see some of my friends. I have a sibling who doesn't have kids, and I'm like, I hope you appreciate it, man.
Yep. Trust me.
Yeah. No, that's the biggest thing with adulting too is, I would say two things: knowing when to self-care. I wish somebody would say that to me as I was growing in my adulting stage. Self-care and knowing when to ask for help when you need help.
Oh, yes. That's a big one.
Right?
Yeah. I think it's because there's like this very negative connotation behind asking for help, like it's about weakness and you have to put on this face, especially Black women, like we have to put on this face of how strong we are and we can do anything without the help of anybody, and then everyone around us is getting all this help and support and flourish, and it's like, what? I want in on that too. Like, give me some help too. So it just reaches a point where we just have to put down all those things that were put on us to believe and just say, you know what, if I need help, I'm going to ask for help. And when you ask for help, it's amazing how the help comes, and it comes in such a full force, and it's amazing.
Yeah. I think I would say in my, mid 30s, around the 30s, late 30s that I finally ask for help. But it's still a struggle. You're right. As Black women, our pride gets in the way. And I think it's pride. I think it's a little bit of survival that we were taught by our mothers or aunts. Like, you know what I mean? A little bit. Why it's difficult to ask for help. But man, the Pandora box opens when you ask for help, and you're
exactly.
And you asking for help, it's almost giving permission, as well as I find, especially when you're asking for help with other Black women, gives them permission. Like, wow, like she did that, I could do that for me too. Yeah, and it becomes reciprocal and like a symbiotic relationship that grows out of that. So it's not weak Black women to ask for help. I know. It's hard. Our pride gets in the way, but man, it's beautiful. What the gems and the lessons that starts coming
that
in.
You get. Yeah,
for sure. So where can people find you? Because I definitely, there's so many other subjects. I'd love to for you to come back on the show so we can talk about. I know that one of the things you're interested in was talking about specifically on society and culture and environment, and we'll be more specific when we have you back. But but for now, where can people find you other than in the group to interact? Or on, where else can people find you? People can find you, I know, on Twitter, on Instagram, or Facebook.
So I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. My handle is at CharisMaggie Tv. And you can also find me on YouTube with the same name, CharisMaggie Tv.
So when are we expecting the next Fi Di Kulcha series or more videos? Ooh, I know, it's hard.
I hope soon, because I've been going through like this mind block and like mini drought, but I'm hoping to get back into the routine of things really soon. So I would say pretty soon.
Awesome. Well, Margaret, thank you so much for being part of the show. It's been
Thanks
a pleasure.
For having me.
I have to give a little story before you go. So Margaret, you remind me. So I have 3 kids. We have 3 kids. And my middle child, she is very like, when she wants something, she goes and get it. And you reminded me of her. So we're like, did you see my thing for the group? Did you accept it yet? Hello? I just loved it. I was like, who is this girl?
Yes, I want it to be in.
So I hope you don't that you keep that with you forever. It's going to take you in such great places to just keep, asking for what you need, and following up. That's a huge strength. It's rare, especially I do find with Black women to have that. It really, really is. So I hardly run into Black women being that hey, what's going on?
What's going on?
How do we work? How do we do this? So this assertiveness, you keep at it. I love it.
Thank you.
Have other people ever told you okay?
Yes.
Yes.
I have had that. It's at my workplace. Other collaborative efforts that, if you tell me something, you tell me, oh, we're interested in you to do this, that, and then it comes to the time and I don't hear anything, I'm going to be like, hey, man, remember that convo 2 months ago? What's going on? We doing this or not?
My daughter's exact same way too.
Because I don't like to lose out on opportunities because of I don't like to think of, oh, well, I'm not going to run after people to give me a chance or whatever. That's not how I want to look at it. I want to look at it as, maybe they didn't remember because they have other things that they have going on. So I'm going to be that one reminding them, because at the end of the day, I think I would want it more than they do. They're already established in what they're doing.
Right.
So if I want it, I have to be the one in their backs. And, after a while, if I'm not getting any results, I'm like, okay, then I showed my interest and you do what you want with it. But that's just how I look at life.
I love it. This is a great lesson to end the show right here. Margaret, thank you again for being on the show.
Thanks again for having me.
I hope you enjoyed the conversation. That was community outreach and YouTuber Margarette Leandre. Being an international student can be a struggle. However, through the CharisMaggie TV experience, she was able to cope living alone in a foreign country pretty well with the ability to express and connect as a content creator. You could check out Margarette or CharisMaggie TV on YouTube, just search for that, or on any of the social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, and just search for CharisMaggie TV, like charismatic, but CharisMaggie, CharisMaggie TV. Subscribe and never miss the show on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Castbox, or via RSS. I would really appreciate a rating or review on iTunes or comment on Spotify. Oh, and tell your family, friends, or fellow content creators about the show. When you are following CharisMaggie, Margarette, let her know how you found out about her through the show. Follow the show and the group on all social platforms. That's Black Canadian CC. And at last, to join the group on Facebook, just visit bit.ly/Black Canadian CC. That's capital BLACK, capital C Canadian, and capital CC to join the group. All right, till next time, I will talk to you with another content creator. Bye.